starts with a decision. You are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and continuing to do what you've always done is going to get you exactly what you've gotten before.
Welcome to the Lara Jane Layton Show. This podcast is for you, the person who keeps putting others first. Your self-talk has held you back. You no longer need to take a second seat. Let's explore ways to overcome self-doubt. You can silence that inner bully voice and achieve your full potential. Here's your host, Lara Jane.
Welcome to the show, friend. I have my new best friend, Jeanette, with me, and we are going to talk about our health as we age. Even 2-year-olds are aging, right? So it's not that we're getting older, it's our bodies are changing and our bodies are learning and growing new things and forgetting old ones. And some of those things my body forgot, I want back. And so we're going to talk about that health as we are aging in our beautiful lives. And so Jeanette is here to share her wisdom on this. She and I both did gymnastics in our teens, and I just think she was able to keep her body healthy. And I'm like, I need to learn from her. So the information about her is in the show notes. So let's jump right in. And Jeanette, help me learn more how to be more healthy, how to pick what I do today and make tiny changes so that I can get healthy like you.
That's a great question. How do we take baby steps forward? I am a 64-year-old Nana. I don't call myself a grandma. I'm a Nana to 2 little granddaughters. And I have 2 adult kids. I grew up in the gym as you did, Laura, through high school for you, through college for me. And then I went into the fitness industry as a full-time at-home mom. I have been eating well, eating properly, not eating crap for a long time. And what I find with a lot of friends that I have today is they somehow along the way got so caught up in the busyness of life, of the work, the juggling the kids, the juggling the marriage, juggling the shopping and putting meals on the table, that usually we are the last ones to take care of ourselves. And I especially find that with over 40. Over 40, at the same time, our bodies change. Our bodies start losing the ability to burn the calories like we used to. Calories is just energy released from the foods we eat. And as we age, we start losing our muscle tissue, our muscles. That is a big problem for us women, because when we lose our muscle, we lose that ability for the metabolism to fuel up and burn the food that we're eating. So it's kind of a 2-prong approach. First, the food industry has been hijacked by sugar. And
you cannot find anything without sugar. Like
nothing.
Even bacon has sugar in it. And it's
Everything.
like, how do you get rid of all this?
When people say, well, my kids eat vegetables or fruit, they eat ketchup with their French fries. It's like, that's not the kind of fruit.
And they've taught us to like that. You can buy sugar-free ketchup, but it's nasty. It's like, how do we get away from that sweet craving?
We became addicted to sugar when the sugar industry, really back in the 50s, when the preserved foods, the sugar industry, and the tobacco industry. It sounds very weird, but when cigarettes started getting all those signs on it, carcinogenic, causes cancer, the tobacco industry took their money and they said, we'll go into the food
sugar now.
Addicting the consumer to different foods. And so working cahoots with sugar, they've addicted us to foods that are not treating our bodies very well. And you've seen the explosion over the past 50 years, Laura. I'm sure you've noticed it too. When I was in grade school, back in the 60s, there weren't a lot of allergies in my classroom that I can remember, peanut allergies. I mean, you could bring cupcakes from home and nobody would care. Everybody would eat them for a birthday celebration. Today, oh my gosh, gluten-free allergies, peanut allergies. And you wonder why that happened. It's because of the toxicity in our food, what's going chemically into our foods, sugar addictions to the foods. So the government has been of no help in this for us. And I know we as moms, especially busy moms, career women, moms, you know what? I know you care about your kids. I know you care about what you put on the table, but we live in a frantic world today and it's go, go, go. There's no rest time. So putting good meals on the table for all of us. And, I don't want to burden working moms and women with teens and, that you're still feeding. We don't want to burden ourselves with that guilt of not making good home cooked meals because we can't. There isn't time. And so finding a way to make healthy meals in a 10-minute time period is what my life has been all about for many years. And so I will help women find their happy place. And we're all different. So, first, don't blame yourself for the hijacking of the food with sugar, the addictions it's caused, and the declining of health. In addition to that, it's caused childhood obesity to skyrocket, cancer skyrocket, diabetes skyrocket, and we can do something about it. So you either live with, the paradigm of, well, my mom, she took 5 medications when she was my age, so it's just part of my DNA. Or you can say, heck with this. I'm going to take the preventive route and prevent disease from occurring or prevent some of these lifestyle issues that put me on drugs. And that's really a paradigm shift that everybody has to make themselves. You can't force it on anybody.
Nope, you can't. I was just talking to my husband the other night, and he said, because I do have sugar diabetes, and I was having some sugar.
Mhm.
He's like, "Why do you eat that?" I go, "I don't police me.
Well,
I
that's
can police myself, and if
mhm.
I choose, and I think we're all that way. And it may not be something as drastic as eating a sugar or something, but people who love us and have healthy eating habits
Mhm.
do want us to be healthy.
Mhm.
And changing the paradigm to, oh, he's trying to control me, to, oh, he's trying to
Mm.
keep me around longer
Mhm.
is a really critical thing. And as we start knowing our friends of like, how are you? And you go, oh, they're just trying to see if I'm being healthy or not. But no, they love you and they want you around. And that was a paradigm shift that took me years
Oh, that is
to
so
come by.
good. That is so good that you bring this up because you had to do homework and you had to dig layers deep to find out why you were reacting that way.
Oh, yeah. I
And
was feeling controlled and I don't want to
it
be controlled.
it came from your growing up years. So you
Yes.
witnessed that, you saw that, it was ritual in your household that there was a control issue somewhere that had you become defensive on that.
And I think we all have our own little thing. Like
Oh,
it
we
may
do.
not be over food, it may be over exercise, it could be
Yep.
over our rest time.
Mhm.
We are in a society of busy is cool. The busier you are and the less sleep you get and the longer you're at the office, the cooler or the better employee you are. And this new generation, you and I are the one that
Yeah,
is
that
the busy.
changes after 40, trust me.
The new generation is like, no, I work 8 hours. No, I have kids, and they have reset their priorities.
Yes.
So hopefully, when they get to their 40s, they're not fighting with this healthy. And I want to say healthy because It doesn't matter the size of your body, the internal workings and how it pumps. Yes, of course, extra weight can cause additional health issues,
Or,
but healthy isn't, you can't see that on the outside.
well, here's the thing. Healthy is based on your life, your lifestyle, what you love to do and can't do it anymore.
Right.
That's the demarcation that you need to find. If you can't, like two young grandkids, you've got a 1-year-old grandson. Can you get on the floor and wrestle with them and have fun? Can you get on a plane and fly to Hawaii with the family without having concern about your health? And that's what I tell women. I say, you have to look at your own lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
Is it hard to walk upstairs? Does that bother you? So asking a bunch of questions so that everybody can internalize and find out what their demarcation point is. If you're sick and tired of being sick and tired about your health, then something has to change.
It could be as little as I want to move better.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be able to walk all the way around the block, not just to the car. I want
Mm-hmm.
to be able to use a towel that goes all the way around me to dry myself off and not
Mm-hmm.
have the gap in the front. There's all these little tiny things that is our lifestyle
Mm-hmm.
that we can choose to change it for.
Absolutely. And we were talking before we started recording about diets don't work, and they don't. I've always said diets equals die. Truly, because it's all about deprivation. Who wants to be deprived of things? Our human nature is not to be deprived, right? So you've got to find what you can put into your body that fuels the furnace, the metabolism. And most women, especially over 40, we slow down a little bit from an exercise standpoint because we're getting achy joints or creaky
Mhm.
joints and we've got that visceral belly fat around our waist, men too, not just women. And it's like, how did that happen? Well, the hormones happened. And for women especially, there's ways that you can conquer this. And the number one way is protein and resistant exercise. Most of us do not eat 1/3 of what we should be eating as far as protein. So if your goal weight, let's say, is 150 pounds, you should be eating 150 grams of protein every day. And women will go, what? How much protein's in a piece of chicken? That's what I have with my lunch, and I don't do breakfast, and then I just snack at night. You're setting your body up for failure because you're stretching too long without food. You're not putting the protein in, which is what the furnace is based on. So if you can look at upping the protein and adding resistant exercise. I've helped women with soup cans who've never lifted weights before, have never used bands before. I say, take the heaviest soup cans in your pantry and more than likely look at the label. If you can't pronounce the first 4 words, toss it because it's probably superficial, chemical, and the body doesn't like things it doesn't recognize, right? So Europe versus America. You wonder why Kellogg's cereal puts red dye into, the Trix or whatever cereals have red dye in them. But Europe, the same company manufactures cereal without the red dye. And there's only about less than 100 ingredients that the European Food, whatever agency allows. There's up to 1,000 that our government allows. And so you wonder why you look at America as one of the greatest inventions on the planet as far as society, at least it used to be. And today, we're all overweight, sick, unhealthy, and dependent on meds. Not all, but a large majority compared to 50 years ago. So it's about taking personal responsibility and saying, I'm not going to rely on what they tell me. I'm going to do my own homework. And that's what I had to do. So Definitely.
Janet, go. One quick question
Uh-huh.
and then another one. Grams in pounds. So
Mhm.
a pound of chicken, let's say most of us do a half a pound or a quarter a pound. How many
Okay.
grams are in a pound of chicken?
Say 20.
Oh, that's all. And we're supposed to have 150 or more.
Say 20 to 30 grams. 2 eggs, there's about 4 grams per egg. Depends on the egg size, but you're right. And that's the whole dilemma. So, I superfoods are amazing. If you can find superfoods that are clean and they don't have chemicals and they're natural, they're, you know, from the earth, basically. Plant-based proteins is totally fine if you can find a company that has clean ingredients. So for me, I either take my protein powder and make cereal or pancakes or a shake. So there's different things you can do with the protein source that you get. And it gives me 36 grams of protein just at breakfast, you know? So there's different ways to do it fast, and you're going to get more nutrition than you would eating a fork and plate meal that took you 2 hours to shop for and prepare. And you're getting fewer calories with more protein. So I've always I eat for fuel. There's a lot of us who eat for pleasure. So eating for pleasure is tied more to, the nurturing and the paradigms from our home we grew up in. But my home was always 6 kids, single mom for a while. It was a crazy place. So,
Yeah, it is definitely a piece where we struggle. Like my mother always cooked breakfast because she was a stay-at-home mother
mhm,
of 8. So
mhm. Of 8,
we
okay,
yeah,
6.
so she was always really busy. And as I was a working mother,
Mhm.
it's like, "Here's your cereal, let's go." "Here's I don't have
Mhm,
time to scramble the
mhm.
egg. I don't have time." And when I say that, this is my old paradigm
Okay.
where I don't have time. I now know I have time for all my priorities. It
Right.
just wasn't a priority.
Exactly right.
Getting out the door and making money made you a better person in my image than
Yes.
being a good mom. And so, where is that priority and who are you? So, let's take a quick break, get a
Okay.
word from our sponsor. And when we come back, let's talk about some of the things we learned as a kid that we don't do today because we had that paradigm shift. So,
Good.
we'll be right back. Hey, since I rarely have openings in my coaching schedule, I have a new resource out there on my website. It is called the BFF Coaching Network. And I have offered a spot there for any coach that has been on the show to list their coaching. You can go out there, you can listen to their episodes, you can feel a little bit about them, and then choose a coach that will work for you. So LauraJaneLayton.com, the BFF Coaching Network. All right, Janet. I know there's so many things. I mean, I had an amazing mom. She, most unconditional person I've ever met, just
As was
sweet,
mine.
beautiful, kind. All 8 of us are completely different, and she loved us all
Mhm,
and understood us all. And
mhm.
so I don't want to take away from that because she did everything she could. But there are things when we're growing up that we internalize, may not have been delivered that way, but I'm not important. The other kids are more important. I'm
Mm.
not this. This is like, but as you look at the things they did, you were really important. Like
Were
you got
you the
fed, you
young
got taken. I was the
Yeah,
second to oldest.
second to oldest. Okay, so was I, but my older brother was mentally challenged, so I was the oldest, basically.
my sister might listen, but she wasn't mentally challenged. She was just a tease.
Oh gosh, okay. Oh,
How do we make that switch that
yeah.
it's okay to not be superwoman in my mom's eyes, but I am superwoman because I know I'm taking care of my priorities, not my mother's priorities.
Right.
So
Right.
how do we make that? Or how do we, I guess, how do we allow ourselves to do that
Very good.
and still feel empowered? Because
Okay.
sometimes you feel like you're letting others down because you're not doing
Uh-huh.
it their way.
Yeah. You have to make a decision. It starts with a decision. You are sick and tired of being sick and tired, and continuing to do what you've always done is going to get you exactly what you've gotten before. And so it's just a pattern interrupt. Boom. And there's ways to do pattern interrupts with something that awakens your senses. So we can talk through that.
Okay, let's talk about pattern interrupts. So
Okay.
if I'm waking up in the morning
Mhm.
and I've got to get out the door to get to work,
Mhm.
and the kids have got to get out the door or get to school or whatever, and I'm feeling rushed.
Mhm.
And so just eat the cereal, get it, whatever.
Mhm.
What is that pattern interrupt? Is that wait? Is that what do we do when we feel that rush and time sensitive crush?
So that pattern interrupt would be I need to set my alarm 15, 20 minutes earlier and get out of bed, get myself prepared for the morning so that my attention can be on the kids if they need breakfast, or if you see that changing your pattern for eating a good breakfast is going to assist you with your health. It'll also assist them with their health. And starting the day with protein is crucial because you get into a cycle of that carb addiction, which has a lot of sugar, usually, whether it's fructose or sucrose. And then you're craving sugar from that moment on. And it doesn't give any satiety to your body. You're not satiated. You're not feeling full. And protein does that. So you're not,
So say, here's the chomps, have it for breakfast, see you later. I mean,
or you
what
can
if
have,
you're a night owl and
I
you
will,
don't want to get up 15 minutes earlier? How do I prepare the night ahead?
okay, make an egg souffle, put it in the oven, let it cook. If you're a night owl, it's done at midnight, leave it foiled. They can get up the next morning, cut it, out they go. So,
So we could cook it ahead and
uh-huh,
let them eat it on their way out.
yeah. And it's simple. I mean, egg souffle takes me 5 minutes to whip up, you know, throw a few veggies, some cheese, blender, boom, put it in a pan and cook it on 350 for an hour. It's- and my kids grew up on things like that because, you know, it's always crazy in the morning with young kids, especially, but even teens, you know, they're going to be craving other things. And unfortunately, it leads to drug cravings as well for those that don't get taken care of with their nutritional needs. There's a lot of science behind that. So if you're an addictive personality, make sure you're satiated or make sure your kids are satiated. And it starts with protein.
So making sure our bellies have something that's going to slowly digest
Yes.
and keep us in that I'm not craving food
Right.
state as long. And so for vegetarians, there are, or vegans, there are um, plant-based
Mm-hmm.
options.
Oh, yeah.
And to get a gram of protein from legumes is quite a bit of food.
Yes.
So eggs is probably the most protein
Pure.
dense
Mhm.
food we have.
Protein dense. That's a very good way to put it. But there are protein shakes if you find the right ones. And, we live in a superfood society today, really. Uh, Everybody's on the go. So it can either be fast food, which I call fat food because it truly has done us no good except for allowed us to speed up our schedules, basically. But it's made us sicker, unhealthier. And so I call it astronauts food or space food.
Yeah, I got the tang as I was growing up, that chemical orange juice.
Yeah.
I mean, drink, not juice.
Okay, here's another hint for shoppers. Moms usually do the grocery shopping for the household. If you're shopping in the middle of the store, you're shopping for chemicals. If you shop at the exterior parts of the store, around the wall area, you're shopping for the more clean, from the ground, meats, veggies, fruits, the dairy. Although our dairy and our meats, there's a lot of bad stuff in a lot of it. So try to shop for clean eating. Organic is not as organic labels are better than just a regular grocery store, and they're more expensive for sure. But at least you can find out if there's, you know, steroid injections in the meat or the, you know, hormones added to cows to have them milk year round, things like that, because our body gets those chemicals and we're inundated with chemicals anyway. We breathe them, we put them on our skin with our skincare, the water we drink. So our body goes into just shock with a lot of these chemicals. And then,
It is kind of frustrating when you go to the store and you're picking up a dozen eggs, and there's the ones that are $3 and there's the ones that are $9.
mhm,
And that pasture raised is
mhm,
so much more
aren't they?
expensive
But
than that.
tasted the difference. Oh my gosh. The difference in the taste. You can taste fake food once you start eating clean. It'll taste like plastic or rubber to you. And that's something that you can test for yourself too.
Right. But if we're raised on the plastic food
Mhm.
that, those caged eggs that the chicken just sits, the hen just sits there all day long doing nothing. That's coming, that emotion, the way that poor chicken was
Yeah.
raised comes
Yeah.
through in there's egg. But if you're raised on it, that's what tastes good. And you eat a
Yeah.
fresh from my backyard egg and you go,
Right.
whoa, this got flavor.
Yeah.
And it does take a transition time
And
to
it's
get
much
used to
yellower.
it. Yes.
It does take a transition time. But there's so many great online recipes and stuff for eating clean today, quick. You can just Google or, search engine of your choice, you know, 10-minute meals with clean ingredients. Yeah, there'll just be a bazillion. So there's ways to get around the fake food. And what happens is your body then goes, oh my gosh. See, chemicals, fat loves to gobble up these chemicals by our gut to try and protect those organs. Most of our vital organs are in our gut area. And so if there's too much overload with chemicals, the fat cells act as, Pac-Man and gobble up. And so you've got this toxin sitting inside the fat cell. Until you can release the toxins from the body, you're either going to get a disease, an illness, a cancer. That's what toxicity is. That's what bodies do. They become very acidic and they're sick. We want to be alkalined as much as possible, eating clean food, reducing the chemical input. Then the fat cells don't hold on to these toxins and they get released. You flush them down with your urine and the gut fat goes away. It melts. It truly melts. So I work with women through intermittent fasting, either a 24-hour or 48-hour, just depending on them, or a 12-hour. don't eat for the 12 hours. Just depends on the age and what's best for you. But there's great cleanses that you can do. It's basically a paradigm shift to trying new things that you'd be surprised that your body would react to in a positive way.
So as we're making this switch in our heads, as I'm not out of time, my priority is eating well so that my body moves well.
Mhm.
Um, and making sure that when we hit that stressor, that thing that makes us feel I'm out of time, it's my priority is taking care of my body so it moves well. And just making sure you create for you that mantra. I'm changing the way I eat because my knees hurt. I'm making sure that I'm not going to have knee pain by consuming things that aren't anti-inflammatory.
Mhm.
I've tried I have not tried every diet in the book because I've never been a watertarian or a carnivore. But all the others I probably tried, and they all work. And I was at
Temporarily. Temporarily.
I was at asking my doctor, what is the best diet
Mm,
for my heart disease and for my
mm.
sugar diabetes? And he said, the one you'll stick with.
That is a great advice.
Like, it
And
doesn't matter. All of them work if you stick with them.
well, doctors, the majority of doctors will recommend the heart healthy diet. Okay.
I know, and I don't agree with it.
I, one of the companies I work with, there's studies against heart healthy Mediterranean versus the food groups that you can choose through this company. They're published studies. It's not woo woo. So they're medical journal studies, and they've been going on for 10 years. So for fat reduction, for being healthy, getting the toxins out of your body is going to help your knees tremendously. Inflammation is definitely a side effect of toxicity. So the paradigm shift, just to do, we talked about this. You have to have a quick, you know, just changing point that you decide on. I have some women that wear a band or a bracelet, and every time their brain says, "Oh, I want that," you know, ice cream or whatever, they'll just snap the band so that there's some kind of a trigger. You trigger yourself physically so you can feel it, or you say it out loud, cancel, cancel, or whatever mantra or word you want to do, so that the brain then gets a signal, no, stop. And then you can start rewiring your brain with repetition. The more you do it, the more the pathways get developed in the brain to take on that new approach.
I know my sister would imagine maggots crawling all over it.
Yeah.
And she's like, I want that donut. Nope, it's got maggots on it. And so she would associate something she was appalled by
Uh-huh.
with the food that she was trying to choose to eliminate.
Many people do that.
She's the only one I've ever heard admit it.
Oh, no. That's really more of a, because it does give you a visceral effect. It impacts you viscerally. I mean, just, oh my God, everything gets freaked out in your body. That's the other thing. Stress for women, the stress hormone, cortisol. That is the stress hormone that goes on with fight flight. It's a reactionary go, 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 go. I'm in a hurry. I'm late. So our bodies are constantly in this upheaval, which means the cortisol is just running rampant in the body. Cortisol loves to just keep that fat stuck in place. So you've got to lower the stress level. Adaptogens, look that up. Plants, herbs that adapt in your body to try and bring the homeostasis back to average midline. So really looking at stress, protein, resistant activity, and that trigger. Just got to have a mind bend, something that you can do that works for you, that tells you to stop and change paths.
I like it. And so that pattern interrupt.
Mm-hmm.
So let's come up with that one thing we can this week. So maybe I want to eliminate donuts. We don't have to pick a whole sugar category up front. We can kind of wean ourselves off our addiction because even heroin people have to wean themselves off. So,
And sugar is harder to get off than a lot of drugs, by the way, because it works in the same pathways as cocaine in our.
Mhm.
So sugar addiction is a real thing. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you. So if let's pick that one thing. So friend, pick one thing this week that you want to choose to let go of so that your body can do what you want it to do more of. So for me, movement. So this week I will choose all bakery and dessert type items
Mm-hmm.
that are just sugar, straight sugar, right?
Mm-hmm.
So every time I want one of those, I'm going to pick a pattern interrupt. And that could be a rubber band on my wrist, like you mentioned, or a thought process of, I want to move. And look at that cake as something that can't move. It never moved. It never did anything. And maybe I'll go for the egg because that's movement.
Yeah,
And
have ready in your fridge or in your pantry substitute, a snack, a protein-based snack that you can replace it with.
I go
That
for
would
the
be good.
chomps. It's like,
Or
go
get
eat that.
a good healthy protein bar that you can pronounce the words on the back of it and cut it in little pieces and put it in a Tupperware container and just eat one or two of those little pieces because it'll give you that satiety for sugar, just temporarily, but at the same time, it's not empty calories. You're putting protein in your body.
Okay, so pick the thing we're going to let go of.
Mm-hmm.
Add back in something you want to use as its replacement and find something to interrupt the thought in between those two things.
Say something out loud, hit your hand, snap a rubber band, stomp your foot, do something that is physical, that you can feel, you can see, you can hear, because you want to involve as many senses as possible to have it wake up the brain.
Okay, so the rubber band gives you the snap sound. It gives you the visual because you see it and you can hear it.
Feel it. Boom.
I meant, that's what I meant, Phil.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
I love this challenge, and I'm sure our friend will have fun doing it too, because it can be as simple as one teeny tiny thing and do.
And I have a free gift that you can put in the show notes. It's check your pantry. And then you can just do an inventory in your home, in the fridge. And it's a, downloadable little worksheet for you to take into your kitchen. And it might wake you up to reality. And sometimes that's what it takes.
All right, check the
You don't
show
want a health
notes.
crisis to make, to wake you up.
Okay, so check the show notes for the Purge the Pantry.
Yeah. Yeah, Purge the Pantry. I love it. It's a good name. Anyway.
So, Janet, why don't you tell our friend about you and what you do as we close out?
I have been a lifetime learner of everything: nutrition, exercise, wellness, health. I love working with women because I'm a woman. And my whole business dream was and is to get women back home in their happy place with either young kids, aging parents, whatever. Give you the time and the freedom to do what you want to do when you want to do it. And that requires thinking differently than exchanging time for money. So I bring in all things health, wellness, mindset, business, and income production.
I love it. So thank you so much for joining us today, Janet. It's been a pleasure to have you as my best friend today. Janet and I are not medical or licensed professionals. This advice is purely what we've learned for us, but do follow your doctor's advice. And stay tuned for the next episode.
Are you tired of waking up exhausted? You are not alone. If you're looking to take your life back, let's start with the simple step of adjusting your self-talk. Stay tuned for the next episode with your host, Lara Jane. Remember to follow the show so you don't miss the next simple step that you can use to feel more confident. And please leave an honest review.